Hey everybody, I just thought I'd give you a quick review of these Kopec Gore-Tex hiking shoes from Arc'teryx. I thought I'd show you them side by side here before I send the mids back, and I'll tell you more about that in a minute. I am sending these ones back. You can see that the mids are a little bit taller than the regular version, and there are a bunch of other differences that I'm going to tell you about. I have really funny feet. If you've watched any of my other videos about shoes, you'll know this already, but I have a really high arch. So shoes have to have enough room in the top, but my feet are really skinny. And I also have one foot that's a full size smaller than the other. So I'm either gonna have a shoe on one foot that's either too big or a shoe on the other foot that's too small, depending on the size that I choose. In Arc'teryx, I'm a size 8. In other shoes, I'm usually an 8.5, unless they are Gore-Tex shoes. And then I'm usually a 9 in shoes because Gore-Tex takes up some room. Arc'teryx did a really good job at keeping the sizing right, despite the fact that these have a Gore-Tex lining. They also have a really nice grip. I was slipping a lot less on the extreme uphill and downhill on my last Fairy Meadows trip than my husband was, and he was using the Ultra Lone Peaks, so the grips are really great. I was really excited when I saw these on the Arc'teryx website because I have been hoping for a zero drop wide toe box shoe from Arc'teryx for a long time, whether it be a hiking shoe or a trail runner. And they haven't done a trail runner yet, which is unfortunate, but hopefully they'll go in that direction. If I have any drop more than about 2 millimeters, I get knee pain on the descents. And when I wore these on Fairy Meadows, I didn't get any knee pain at all, which was quite surprising. When I'm standing in shoes, if there's any drop, I usually feel like I'm falling forward in the shoe, and I didn't get that feeling in here at all. Now, the drop isn't listed at all on Arc'teryx, which is unfortunate. A lot of companies only list the drop if the shoe is called a running shoe, which I wish they would change. I wish they would just put the drop for all shoes because that would really help a lot of us who need to have a zero drop shoe. I would say it's about a 2 millimeter to 4 millimeter drop. I don't even think it's a 4 millimeter drop because I would have felt it more. So probably about a 2 millimeter drop. These were actually quite solid on my foot, despite my foot being really skinny. It would have been nice if they had a little bit skinnier of a heel in these shoes. The heel is a little bit wider than the rest of their approach shoes. So I think that's something that Arc'teryx could probably improve on. As well, it would be nice if they had a trail running version of this that was a little bit more pliable. This is quite stiff, as you can see. It's a lot stiffer than I would like. However, because it's stiff, it does give you a little bit more protection against rocks, etc. The one super annoying thing I found about this shoe is that the laces kept coming undone. I don't know what it is with these laces. Maybe it's the coating on them. Maybe it's got like a waterproof coating on them or something. I was bending down and having to retie or tighten up these shoes probably about every 10 minutes. And something that probably could have solved all that would have been if they just gave a second hole here to create a heel lock. I'm hoping that in version 2, Arc'teryx is going to put that heel lock on there just like they have on trail runners, because that would really help lock your foot in when you're going downhill. So no real problems there. So these are quite light for a hiking shoe, which is really nice. They feel more like the weight of a trail runner, despite having the stiff sole. So that was very nicely done. I'm hoping Arc'teryx is going to build on this and make an even better shoe with things like the heel lock and a definite zero drop, and also bring in a trail running version of this. And not like the trail runners they have now, where there's so much control on the inside of the shoe, where they put in the heel cup and everything, and your foot can't move. This is very nice because it's a neutral shoe, and I'm hoping they're gonna keep the neutrality if they turn this into a trail runner or next year in the next iteration. For my knees, I also need a shoe that has no control in it, so a very neutral shoe, and that's exactly what this is. So now we move on to the mid. And I thought, because there's no real indication at all in the description that these shoes are any different, that these would be the exact same shoes as these, except they were more of a high top. Boy, was I wrong. These, I don't know if you can see or if you can tell, but they definitely have a bigger drop. Just looking at the back, it looks like the white portion of the sole back here is maybe a couple millimeters higher than this one. And I could feel it. As soon as I put these shoes on, I felt like I was falling forward in the shoe. So it definitely has a different drop than this one, which was the first disappointing thing. Secondly, there is a gap. And I'll have to look at the pictures that I sent to Arc'teryx about this and hopefully put it up on the screen. But there's a gap when you tie up the shoe between the tongue and your shoe. You see how there's a big dip right here? There's an actual gap there. So there's no point in this being Gore-Tex when the water's going to get in right at the ankle. And because of that gap too, because this tongue doesn't go right inside here, there's not a whole lot more support in this shoe than there is in this shoe. But that's not the worst of it. If that's the only problems there were with this shoe, I would be totally fine with it. I would have just kept it and not said anything. However, this shoe was so painful when I went for a walk in it. I went for a 2-kilometer walk just on the trails in my neighborhood here. My feet were so painful. I had to come home after 2 kilometers. I couldn't walk in them anymore. And my feet hurt for 2 solid days afterward. And then I thought, okay, I'm going to give them one more try because maybe it was just my feet. Because I do have arthritis in my feet. I thought, well, maybe it's just me. Maybe there's nothing wrong with these shoes and they are the same as these. Maybe they just needed to be broken in. So I took them on another 2-kilometer walk. Bad idea. Again, pain for 2 days. They also seem to be skinnier in the toe box. My little toe on my right foot, which is the bigger foot, was actually rubbing on the side here. And these are the same size. These are an 8 and these are an 8. Which is weird because they actually felt like they were a little bit longer in front of my big toe, but a little bit narrower in the toe box. But like I said, that would have been fine too if it wasn't for the fact that they were so stiff and so painful on my feet. It feels like these are a lot stiffer than these, the uppers. I don't know if that was intentional by Arc'teryx because it doesn't say anything about it on the website, that these are a stiffer upper or a stiffer shoe. And they don't specify that the drop is different. They don't tell us that anything's different. And these also have the same problem with the laces. There's no way to lock them down and they keep coming undone. Every 10 minutes, I have to lean over and I have to do up the laces again. So with these, my only real big issue is they're a little bit stiff, which I would have liked them to be a little bit more pliable. And they don't have a lace lock. But with these, there was so much more. These I will definitely wear again and continue to wear until they're worn out. But these, I will never put them on my feet again. They were literally that painful. So I messaged Arc'teryx and they were very kind. They said, no worries, we don't usually warranty for things that aren't defects. I'm not sure why companies say that because like I didn't make the shoe and I didn't make the issues happen. There are definitely issues with the manufacturing. But anyway, they were kind enough that they said that if I box these up and I write the number for the return on them, they will send me a gift certificate for their value. So that's fantastic. I'm going to send these back. I'll buy something else. Maybe I'll buy another pair of these. Maybe I'll wait for the second iteration of these. Maybe they'll put a heel lock on them. I just wanted you guys to know the differences between these two. So you don't think like I did that if you buy this pair and you really like them, that you could go ahead and buy these pair and you'll like them just as much because you may not. These I found were actually stiffer and more painful on my feet than these. I find these really comfortable. And these are the heavier hiking boot from Arc'teryx. I love these boots. I've done quite a few mountains in these and I've never had an issue in them. So hopefully this helps you guys out if you're thinking about purchasing these Kopec shoes from Arc'teryx. And make sure that you hit the subscribe button so that I can keep bringing you these videos. And let me know below if you've tried either of these boots, the mids or the regular Kopec, and tell me what your experiences were. Thanks so much and we'll catch you next time.